Hi, this is Mehek. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that I really wanted to talk about ever since I've started working in the school setting. And like with my son and everything I went through with inclusion. Inclusion is, you'll hear a lot of administrators and special ed teachers and a lot of people, school personnel say the words meaningful inclusion. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by it. For me, meaningful inclusion is having the child there in the regular ed as much as they can. Spend time with the neurotypical kids. At first, I did so, but we want to do that in a way that the schools also are willing to try. In the beginning, I had a hard time with my son's school because we didn't see eye to eye on what they meant by inclusion. When my son would go into the kindergarten classroom, he would just sit there and they were like, we're not just gonna let him sit there. He's upset. He is not doing anything. It's not meaningful for him. And I disagree with that completely. Just the fact that our children need to be able to sit and coexist with other regular peers. And the fact that he's sitting and waiting so nicely was actually, it was amazing for me. I think that's a very important skill that we disregard oftentimes. There are other general skills that I don't think we can learn meaningfully in the special ed room, like lining up with our classmates, raising our hand. I've worked with high schoolers who are not able to raise their hand yet or line up with their classmates, which is unfortunate because they're stuck in that special ed bubble. Now, I believe in intensive teaching. That's why I plan to become a BCBA. It's not that, but to maximize downtime, we want our children included in the regular ed as much as possible, to shake their schedule, break it down, make it less rigid, make it less strict. And we want them to be comfortable in regular ed just as they're comfortable in special ed. So the changes we see are meaningful and not just like an environment that's set around to make them successful. We want them to be successful in other settings and generalize their behaviors, their skills. So what can we do to make our children more included? What should we ask for the school? Or what should we ask from the school? First, we ask them for a schedule. Like how much are they in there? What are more ways we can include our child in the special ed? In the regular education classroom. So we can ask them like what time periods they go in for, what do they do during that time? Is there a time that they can go in, do their worksheets or their specific work and then come back to the special ed room? Are there times where they can actually go take a break in that regular ed room so that they are that it's more reinforcing for them to actually pair the regular ed and the student? I think that's very important to actually try to pair regular ed and special ed students. So when we have like a special ed room where there's all their fun items, they get reinforced constantly, they're comfortable, they become a little too comfortable, and regular ed is not so fun anymore. It's chaotic, it's chaos, there's too many people, but we want them to function, we want them to learn how to be amongst other neurotypical kids. Now, one thing that people will say is that it doesn't really matter how they're doing in regular ed. That's not all about their education. We want to meet them where they at. The classic, I want to meet them where they're at. We want to meet them where they're at. We want to make a plan to help them go further than that too. So we don't want to just meet them where they're at and leave it as it is. We want them to be able to function outside of the school and learn the skills and use the skills that they've found and learned at school and apply them everywhere else. That's what it means to be meaningful. Now, it's different. The goals are very different for special ed kids and regular ed kids, because the education system is built to make them successful in middle school and then high school and then beyond. But for special education kids, we just the services we use are to make them successful in school. So that's a classic thing you'll hear, is that we're only going to work on things that will make them successful at school. So how are we making them successful at school when regular education is not a priority? We need to work on that a lot more. What can parents do? Again, ask them how long your child's in there. Ask them for accommodations and ways that they can be in there more. be their best advocate. You won't get anything by fighting it out with them. I've done that, but you should always show the school that that is one of your priorities. Make sure they know that you believe in inclusion and you want that for your child. And that's pretty much what I want to say about inclusion. And I hope that any parents, whenever you have your IEP meeting, find ways to ask them about it and make them accountable for their time. They're in there all day. Usually we don't have much time once they come back home to work on this kind of stuff with them. So they really need to work on the maximum amount at school.